Hey, what's up? Zach here, and today I'm going to be bringing you my favorite tennis shoes for every foot type, game style, and injury or condition you might be bringing to the tennis court. And heads up, if you want a catalog of every shoe I've reviewed this year in one document breaking down all the stats like heel height, foam construction, suicide test time, width, and everything else you see in my videos, I do have that as a digital download for purchase down in the description. This is a really great tool to compare shoes side by side, and it's what I use to make all of my videos, especially when I'm comparing shoes together. So it's a great companion to this video, and it's just infinitely helpful. So that's down below. All right, but let's get started with number one, foot type. And this one's kind of the most important because if you're a narrow, medium, or wide width foot, you're going to be looking at vastly different shoes. Now, if you're a wide width player, you have a few options. You can go with a shoe that just comes in a wide width, like the Asics Gel Resolution 8 wide, New Balance 996, or Lab V2 2E or above. And there are shoes that just come naturally wide, like the Diadora Blue Shield 5s, the Adidas Court Jam Bounce, Soul Match Bounce, and recently back on the market, Soul Court Boost. Conversely, on the other side of the spectrum, if you're a narrow foot, you don't want a big shoe that's flopping around that'll let you sprain your midfoot. So you're going to want something more like the Onyx Eclipse 3, the Head Sprint Pro, or even the Adidas Barricade. And if you're a good old-fashioned medium or true width foot, you're going to want something right in the middle, not too constricting, but not too floppy. Something like really anything in the K-Swiss line, or even something like the Nike Vapor Pro. And typically I tell people their arch height usually isn't a major determining factor of a shoe because you can correct for that in an orthotic. However, shoes like the Adidas Defiant Generation, Ubersonic 4, Fila Axialis Energized just don't have a lot of forefoot padding, and therefore, no matter what kind of orthotic you put in your shoes, they're not going to be the best option. So always look for something with at least a little bit of a stack in the forefoot just to give that ball of your foot a little bit more cushion. Conversely, somebody with a flatter foot is going to want something with a little bit more support under the mid part of the shoe, like say the Diadora Blue Shield 5s or the Adidas Barricade. All right, number two, game style. The style of game that you bring to the tennis court can have a huge impact on what shoes you buy. Say you're somebody that serves and volleys a lot, then you're going to want something a little more aerodynamic and streamlined with front to back speed, like the Head Sprint Pro, the Lecoq Sportif LCST01, the Nike Air Max Volley, or the Nike Vapor Pro. If you're somebody that plays a big serve plus one game where you're trying to get as much reach as you can on your serve and then plant for another big shot, you're going to want something with a lot of beef underneath the shoes, something like the Diadora Blue Shield 5s or the Nike GP Turbo. Versus if you're somebody that's more of a baseline grinder or a retriever, you're going to want something with a lot of side-to-side stability and a little bit of speed. Perfect example is the Asics Court FF2 or the New Balance Fresh Foam Lab V2. Versus if you're somebody that's a lighter weight player or just wants as much speed as humanly possible, you're going to want something from more the lightweight category, like the Adidas Ubersonic 4, the Babolat Jet Mach 3, or the Nike Vapor Pro. What if you're someone that plays on a variety of surfaces at a pretty consistent rate? You're going to want something with a true all-court pattern, like the Wilson Rush Pro 3.5, the Adidas Barricade, Soul Court Boost, or Onyx Eclipse 3. Now, what if you're someone that likes to slide on a hard court that's a lot different than sliding on clay? You're going to want something with a more ergonomic tread pattern, something like the Head Sprint Pro, or the Nike Vapor Pro, or the Asics Court FF2. Now, what if you're someone that plays a true all-court game? You're someone that uses a lot of angles and geometry. You're going to want a shoe that is good in really awkward positions, like the Nike Vapor Pro or the Asics Court FF2. What if you're someone that plays doubles primarily, or a lot of pickleball? The shoe choices are pretty similar because it's a shoe that needs to be good for digging for balls and a shoe for really quick movement, something like the Nike GP Turbo, Lotto Mirage, or even Adidas Ubersonic 4. All right, number three, injuries, body type, and chronic conditions. If you're somebody with heel pain such as plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendinitis, or bursitis, you're going to want something with a pretty stout and stiff heel counter and a decent stack of foam in the heel, something like the Nike GP Turbo, K-Swiss Ultra Shot 3, or Adidas Soul Court Boost. If you're someone that's a chronic ankle sprainer, you're going to want a shoe with more lateral stability, something like the New Balance Fresh Foam Lab V2, the Adidas Soul Court Boost, Diadora Blue Shield 5s, or even on the lighter side, the Nike Vapor Pro. But conversely, if you need a shoe for a painful flat foot or tendinitis, you're going to want a shoe with more medial stability, something like the Nike GP Turbo, Asics Gel Resolution 8, or again, Diadora Blue Shield 5s. Now, if you have pain here in the ball of your foot, typically I like any shoe from the wide width category and high arch category, but just suffice it to say anything with a higher forefoot stack, I usually like for somebody with ball foot pain. Now, what if you're one of the unlucky players with shin splints? My favorite shoes for shin splints are the same ones as the ones for flat feet, ones with a more solid medial arch and medial stability to prevent that strain on the leg. And for anyone that needs to accommodate a bunion or a hammer toe, my favorite shoes for those are same as my favorites for wide width players. Now, what if you suffer from knee, hip, back, or neck pain? These are all very different conditions, but they all have one thing in common, and that's the need for shock absorption in the shoe. And my favorites pretty much all time for that, Nike GP Turbo, Adidas Sulcord Boost, or Lotto Raptor Hyperpulse 100. And there's also the consideration of weight. If you're someone on the lighter end of the spectrum, you're not going to want to be lugging around a shoe as heavy as the Adidas Stycon or the Nike Vapor Cage 4. And conversely, if you're someone on the heavier end of the spectrum, a shoe like the Adidas Ubersonic 4 just isn't going to have enough resistance of force to be comfortable over a long period of time. And if you want or need to wear orthotics or braces in your tennis shoes, you're going to want to stay away from shoes with low heel counters, and specifically for brace wearers, one-piece or slipper tongue shoes. It's really hard to get the brace into there. You're going to want to stick with shoes with a three-piece tongue and a higher heel counter. And this one's kind of specific, but if you're somebody with a really narrow heel, you need a shoe that's really going to compress around there, you want to get a shoe that has all three eyelets available here in the ankle collar. That way you can do a runner's knot to really cinch it around that narrow heel or ankle. And so if you're looking for a good shoe for a particular combination of all these different things, just look at each category, and whichever shoes appear in each category, those would be a list of my favorites for that particular combination. But the most important part of all this is finding a shoe that actually fits your size and shape foot. So if you want to see how to find the best shoe for your size and shape foot, make sure you click into this video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. See you in the next video.